We are speaking with Dr. Yonatan Freeman, international relations expert at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, against the backdrop of the resumption or the first round of U.S.-Iran talks. A second round is planned. What's your take on these discussions? Do you think there will be any kind of diplomatic breakthroughs?
Well, I think the fact there are talks, it's already something that's positive. I think that both the United States and Iran, they don't want a war. And I think that also Israel does not want a war. And I think that Israel has said all along that it has no problem with a deal. It's all about a good deal, making sure that the deal can be enforced, making sure that the United States, for example, is the one enforcing it, that the nuclear program is being dismantled, and that a deal doesn't allow any kind of wiggle room for Tehran to violate it and to continue with its nuclear program, even after it signed an agreement.
It did seem to some degree that when the U.S. president announced the plans for the direct talks in the Oval Office photo op with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, it wasn't entirely a known matter.
Well, I think it's been known to everyone, in particular Israel, that the United States does not want a wider war in the Middle East. The United States does not want a war with Iran. We heard that even during the Trump campaign. We heard that from various officials around Trump. We also know that it's the interest of the American public to avert any kind of war in the Middle East, just like the ones they fought in the past, things that have been very unpopular. So I think that Israel is aware that in the end, Trump represents what the American public desires. And I think that Israel is going to give it a chance to see exactly what the deal entails, and in particular, who's going to be enforcing it. Because we know that the previous deal, where we had particular international inspectors, and we even had a secret side deal, whereas Iran would be given a month notice before anyone would come to check a site. That's something that probably is something that Trump does not want. Trump even railed against when he left that deal during his first administration. So I think Israel is going to be waiting to see exactly what the deal shows and who's going to be enforcing it.
Meaning, compared to the last time where there were several signatory parties, the fact that these are U.S.-Iran bilateral discussions makes a difference?
Yes, I think it makes a difference. I think not just with the previous deal, I think also with the bad history that Israel has had with international bodies, whether or not on the Lebanese border, whether or not on the Syrian border, whether or not in Gaza, where they gave, in the end, some sheltering to Hamas terrorists firing rockets and even to Hamas terrorists holding hostages. So I think there's a lot of bad history when it comes to international bodies, and I think that Israel looks to the United States to be a better body, a better group of people who could enforce such a deal, just like they did when they had a deal with Gaddafi in Libya, where he dismantled its nuclear program, and the United States came in there and did the actual dismantling and enforcement, and that led to sanctions being taken off Libya. So I think that kind of a case study with Libya could potentially be something that Israel will be able to accept.
The United States, at the same time, has been bolstering its forces in the region, and the U.S. president has said that if talks do not succeed, a response would be harsh. Is Trump putting substance behind his words? Is this a threat? What are your thoughts?
I think yes. I think that right now we're seeing a dress rehearsal with some of the powers that are in the region with regards to what Trump is now doing against the Houthi rebels in Yemen. And I think that that's just a small amount of the type of firepower that could be directed against Iran. So I think this is a message to Iran. And we know that Trump is someone that we can never know what's going to happen with him when it comes to the various tools he might be looking to using, to various tools he has on the table vis-a-vis Iran and other places. So I think that Iran knows that. I think that Israel knows that. And even though we're seeing some optimism in different words by various officials and even by Iran, I think that we can't rule out any sort of military action or other actions of even harshening the sanctions against Iran if indeed these negotiations break down and there is no agreement.
What would the U.S. seek specifically out of this agreement, and what is Iran hoping to come away with?
Well, I think that Iran, first off, more than it hates Israel and wants to destroy Israel, it loves itself, and it wants to survive as a regime. And I think that if I go back to what happened with Libya, we all know what happened to Gaddafi in the end. And that's something that they want to avert. They want an insurance policy where the regime continues to survive. So I think, number one, when it comes to the actual regime, they want to survive. They want to have enough power to continue to rule. We know that they're having very, very big economic problems right now in Iran, and that's something that can weaken the regime. We know there's many people in Iran that they don't like the regime there, and they could easily bolster their protests and other things against the regime. So I think Iran first off wants a deal where its regime survives, and it still could maybe potentially restart a nuclear program in the future if all fails. But with regards to the United States, I think number one, not just with regards to not having the nuclear Iran, they want to avert a war. They want to avert a war. They want to bring the war off the table, and they're seeking a deal which, on the one hand, could lower the possibility for war, and on the other hand, could increase the possibility that Iran will never get a nuclear weapon.
Over what timeline do you think could we see some indications which direction these discussions will be going?
Well, I think one thing at play right now is really the fact that Trump is looking for a lot of foreign policy victories. We know that he has a lot on his table right now. We have the war in the Ukraine. We have the war in Gaza. We have the pursuing of a wider presence of the Abraham Accords. So I think that the time frame right now with regards to Trump is to get things done pretty quickly with regards to big problems going on around the world. So I don't think that Iran has a lot of time. I don't think it has a lot of time for these negotiations. And even though Trump has not announced what it is, but I don't think he's going to take as much time as people think. And that's probably why he's now, as being reported, massing various military assets in the region and increasing his military actions against Iranian proxies, and also allowing Israel to continue its actions against Iranian proxies in preparation for such a time where he says this deal is not working, the deal now is off the table, we're now going to go a different way, a way that Iran maybe will be even greater, at a greater weakness.